last 90 days for NEET MDS preparation, then this is exactly the video you need to watch. Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Rachita Guru, and in this video I'll be sharing with you my exact 90-day NEET MDS strategy, which includes clear phase-wise plan, a realistic timetable, what to focus on, what to completely avoid, and the biggest mistakes students make in the last 3 months. So make sure you watch this video till the end, because structure and strategy in the last 90 days can make or break your rank. Now before we begin, a very important clarification. This video is for those students who already have a basic level of preparation. Now what do I mean by basic level of preparation? It means that you've already studied all your subjects once and you're not going to be opening your MCQ textbooks for the first time right now. If you're starting out completely afresh and you've not studied anything till now, then this video might just overwhelm you. This video is perfect for people who are in their revision mode. Now listen carefully. If you don't have a clear plan or strategy, then one, you are just going to end up randomly reading. You'll just be jumping from one subject to another. And third, you're going to feel like you're making some progress because you're busy, but you're not actually going to make any progress. A quote that I really believe in is that a goal without a plan is just a wish, okay? Let's break these 90 days into a concrete, actionable plan, and let's get you that rank. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be dividing these 90 days into 3 phases, okay? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So your phase 1 is going to be of 50 days, which is your foundation strengthening phase or your first revision. Phase 2 is going to be of 25 days, and that is going to be of your intense revision. Last phase, which is phase 3, is going to be of 15 days, which is your final revision before your exam. Now let's get on to phase 1. Phase 1 is your most important phase, okay? Now let's try to understand why 50 days, okay? You have a total of 19 subjects. So 19 subjects, we're going to allocate 2 days per subject. So 19 into 2 makes it 38. Other than that, I'm going to give you 5 extra buffer days, right? What are the buffer days for? They are going to be for your big subjects, they are going to be for your weak subjects, and they're going to be for spillovers or any topic that was remaining. So 5 extra days for that. So that makes it 38 plus 5 is 43, okay? We have remaining 7 days now. Now what are your 7 days going to be for? Now we have a total of 7 weeks, right? Every week I want you to dedicate your Sundays for GTs. I'm going to call it Grand Test Sundays. So every Sunday you are going to solve a grand test, and the entire day is going to be dedicated to your grand test. So that makes it a total of 38 plus 5 plus 7. So that's your 50 days of your phase 1. Before we get into the exact strategy, I want to discuss something very important, which is your time management and how many hours you should be ideally studying. First thing I want to emphasize on is that your sleep is very important. Make sure to sleep at least 6 to 7 hours a day. You don't want to compromise on that, okay? 24 hours mein se aap 7 hours hata lo. How much is left? We are left with 17 hours. If you want to get a good rank, I would advise you to study at least 8 to 10 hours a day. What used to happen with me was that I used to get distracted very easily. So many times if I have a 1 hour slot planned out, I used to maybe end up actually studying for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, okay? So because of that, what I planned for, rather than planning for 10 hours, I planned for 12 hours, okay? So अगर आप 12 plan करोगे, आप 10 तो कर ही लोगे. However, if you plan for 8 hours, you'll maybe just end up doing 5 or 6 hours, right? 17 hours में से take out 12 hours for your studies, okay? So you are still left with 5 hours in the entire day to do whatever you want, okay? So this time management is very important, and this is also very easily achievable if you want to get a good rank. Another thing that I would like to advise to you is, whenever you're studying, try to keep your phone switched off or keep it away. If you keep your phone with you and you keep getting notifications, it's not going to work. So keep your phone away when you're studying, right? Now let's jump into the strategy. Now let's jump into your morning routine for your phase 1. Now when you wake up in the mornings, your mind is fresh. I want you to be solving PYQs or previous year questions. There are 2 ways that you can do this. You can either choose to do it subject wise, or you can do it year wise. Now my personal preference is to do it year wise, because you need to train your mind from the beginning to switch between subjects. Now a lot of times students make this mistake that they keep the year-wise solving for the end, and then because of that it builds a lot of anxiety, because your brain cannot figure out how to switch between subjects. So what I would recommend is to do your previous year's questions year-wise. Now very, very important for this phase is, while you're solving those MCQs, I want you to circle those questions and keep a separate pen, keep a red pen for circling all those questions. These are the questions that you tend to get wrong and wrong again and again, right? So these questions are gold for you, and if you train your mind to, get these answers right, then you're gonna get a good rank. What should you do in the evenings? Your evening should be dedicated for notes, explanations, and revision. Notes can be either your own notes or your coaching notes. You should do your marked wrong questions. You should see the explanations of your previous year's questions, and you should also emphasize on frequently repeated concepts. Now, what should you not do at this stage? Do not read your textbook like a novel. Don't start reading randomly. Also, I would not recommend you to start reading new topics right now, right? Now, obviously, if there's a topic which is repeated every year, or there's a topic that is very important and is repeated, of course you should do that. But just trying to cover your syllabus for the sake of covering it is not the way to go right now. So two important things for your MCQ strategy in phase 1. First thing is to solve your MCQs daily, and second most important is to choose one source. Okay, don't be like, yes, aaj I will solve from Pulse, tomorrow I will solve from Target. No, choose one source and fix to that. I personally used to prefer reading from Pulse. 2 days per subject. Okay, now let's say you started a difficult subject, let's say anatomy, okay, or medicine. Now, once you started doing the subject, maybe it can happen that you're feeling a little overwhelmed, and you don't like that subject, so you're getting a little overwhelmed, your anxiety increases and your concentration is dropping. Now, don't be like, nahi yaar, aaj nahi ho raha hai, chodo. No, don't do that. What you need to do is temporarily switch to an easier subject. Revise something that you're already confident on, so you gain your momentum, and then finally you can then switch back to the difficult subject. So all you need to do is do not stop, just change your gear. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your Sunday should be reserved for GTs. Okay, so let's call it grand test Sundays. Okay, what should your schedule be? 3 hours is your grand test. Now, for the rest of the day, I want you to dedicate it to first analysis. Okay, second, understanding the concepts and reading the explanations. Third, understanding what mistakes you made and reading those explanations again and again. Right? Now, another big mistake that students tend to make is कि they don't do grand tests. They're like, अच्छा, I'm not feeling ready yet, बाद में करेंगे. बाद में करेंगे नहीं होगा. Now, you will never feel ready for the grand test. You will feel ready only after you give the grand test. Confidence will come in after practice and practice. You're never going to feel ready. Okay, so don't wait कि अच्छा, I am going to feel ready, तब जाके I will do grand test. So start giving your grand test, and that's the way you're going to build your confidence. Now, let me summarize your phase 1. You should have a fixed routine. Morning MCQs, evening notes, and explanation. Remove your distractions. Keep your phone away while studying. Revisions are everything. PYQs form 80% of your preparation. Most questions are either direct repeats, near repeats, or concept repeats. So even if your answer is correct, read the explanation. Often the same concept is twisted clinically. Now let's talk about the mistakes to avoid in your phase 1. Watching endless videos, highlighting your notes. It just gives the illusion of progress. Passive reading like a novel. Do not do that. Okay? Random daily planning. Avoiding tough subjects initially due to anxiety. Skipping GTs because I am not ready. Also, do not do your INI PYQs now. Real progress is active recall, MCQs, and revision. Now, if you're liking this strategy so far and you're finding it helpful, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to be sharing a lot more useful tips and strategies to help you crack your NEET MDS. Now let's move on to phase 2. Phase 2 is of 25 days and is for intense revision. Now let's divide the days, right? So we have 3 weeks. 3 weeks means 3 Sundays. What are Sundays for? Sundays are for grand test Sundays. I want your Sunday schedule to remain the same. This is the phase where your preparation gets converted to a rank. Now what should you do in this phase 2? First and foremost, no subject-wise reading, right? Focus only on PYQs, bookmarked or circled questions, image-based questions, and a mistake notebook if you have one. This phase is all about active recall. It is not about reading. Now, some tips for your test. Give your GTs regularly. Analyze it like it's your final exam, and improve on your silly mistakes and your time management. What are the mistakes you should avoid in phase 2? Going back to full textbooks, chasing new resources, and ignoring weak areas. Now, a very important mistake to avoid during this phase is talking to your peers who give you FOMO. A lot of people will tell you, "Arey, ye padha, ye to bahut important hai." "Ha, arey, ye nahi padha." Do not do that. Trust yourself, trust your preparation, and do not try to learn new things right now. Now let's move on to phase 3, which is the final revision and is of 15 days. Now what are the goals of your phase 3? Maximize retention, minimize panic, and convert your preparation into exam day performance. This phase is not for learning. This phase is to recall what you already know. One big rule for this phase is if it needs fresh learning, just skip it. Now in the final 15 days, I do not recommend you to give GTs. Now here's why. A very difficult GT can shatter your confidence. A bad score can trigger panic and self-doubt. At this stage, anxiety is not going to help anyone. And at this phase, you're not really testing your preparation anymore. You have to protect your preparation. So anxiety is not gonna help. So protect your preparation. At times, students know the concepts, but because of a bad GT, it just triggers you emotionally and you just go into a panic mode, and that is not gonna help anyone. So protect your preparation, protect your mental peace. What should your daily plan be? You should be doing mixed PYQs, at least 50 to 100 questions a day, image-based questions, repeatedly wrong PYQs, clinical traps and twisted concepts, frequently wrong concepts for you, high yield facts, and volatile lists. Now, very common mistakes in this phase are reducing sleep, overstudying last night, talking to your anxious friends, and changing your strategy. You need to revise only 3 things: your most revised notes, PYQs and the explanations, and frequently wrong questions. An adequate sleep of at least 6 to 7 hours is non-negotiable. In the last 15 days, confidence is very important. So protect your mind, because a calm mind performs way better than a stressed one. Phase 3 is not about knowing more, it's about forgetting less. NEET MDS is not about studying everything. It's about revising the right things multiple times. If you want a printable version of this 90-day plan, then comment plan and I'll send across the entire strategy to you. Now remember, in the last 90 days, you do not need any new resources. You do not need any new strategies. You just need belief, repetition, and discipline. Trust your preparation, trust your plan, and show up every single day. If you stay disciplined for these 90 days, I promise you your rank will reflect it. All the best, you have got this. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be sharing a lot more useful tips for NEET MDS preparation, strategies, and actionable plans. See you very soon in the next video.